Ingoken. Hello, all of you, dear listeners of the Village Radio Story channel. In today's familiar airtime, invite you and your friends. Enjoy a very interesting short story with The Little Boss by Than Mai. After hearing the story, don't forget to like and leave a comment and click subscribe channel as well as the alarm to support the entire team of the channel. Following, I'd like to invite all of you and your friends to join me. It's a one-way street. No one will make a mistake and get lost. But the reality is always ironic. On our way, there are always unexpected turns. And when we realize we can't go back, I am male 40 years old. In the eyes of society, I'm a famous photographer with BIA International Awards and countless awards in the country. For my family, I'm an exemplary husband, a father who always loves his children. But only I know it's not perfect. It's like a flashy cover on the outside. I've fallen and lost. That until now can never go back. Every story has a beginning and an end. The beginning of my own story appeared 3 years ago. But the end, maybe it's only when I leave this life. Like any other photographer outside of time travel, I need to commercialize my name to sustain life. I started a photography studio at home with my name, of course. The salary for each photo shoot is quite high compared to common ground. And so too, most of my clients, they're all models and actors or big families with a lot of money. To be honest, Made My Name are works of artistic depth and commercial works that feed the family. It has no artistic value. A kind of portrait on the bed, a homeless in the middle of the magnificent living room, or even a kind of lukewarm picture of the actress. All in my eyes is rice, nothing more than that. And maybe my life could be called perfect if I don't meet Ngoka. My assistant and I had a photo shoot that day at his own house. Luan is the city's leading real estate developer. His wife is Bic, movie runner over 25 years ago. There is also the title of the Queen. Just met Bic. I was startled by her noble beauty. The soldiers are probably a few years younger than me, but at first glance, it's like he's just over 30. It's the women in silk velvet. Always keep the perfect youth. Luan is also an old man. The guard's pretty funny. The two of them are in my eyes. Is a typical Sia of giants and beauties. The photo shoot went very well. We took a picture of the garden, the swimming pool style. Even Mr. Luan suggested that his wife take some pictures in the bedroom, like the kind of youth retention. In the eyes of professional photographers, and I've seen many model actresses with my own eyes, the body of a woman like Bic, it's nothing special. Even though I admit she's beautiful, the youth is still open, but I'm stuck like a rock hammock with nothing. You're right next to me. He's also an old glaring guard, is mowing down the sun through the curtains. Suddenly, the door of the room opened. A little girl's voice echoed. God, shut the door. Red-faced soldiers pulled blankets across 6 doors. A slender body walked in. Just slammed the door down. The girl looked around and stammered. Mom, Bia Zizil there. This is male photographer Ray. You must have seen the newspaper too, he said. Uncle Nam taking pictures for his mother. This is my oldest daughter, Nam. Her name is Ngoka. He turned to me like that. My name is very familiar to me. Step to have fun. Hi, Uncle Nam. I love your works. Right now, I had time to watch the girl in front of me, curious to look at me. I had to cool down for a moment before I woke up. Beautiful is no longer a worthy word to describe her beauty. Ngoka has the beauty of her mother. Bring back the pure purity. She makes me feel unreal, magical, like Ms. Long in Kim Dung's novel. A beauty that does not entangle bare dust. Just a light touch made it dirty. First time, for how many years, as a photographer? My heart is beating abnormally fast. I nod my head slightly for the greeting. Although Sao Ngok Ha is only about the age of my eldest daughter, there is nothing impolite about doing so. The back part of the photo shoot. It's torture for me. Even in the lens is the almost perfect body of a beautiful lady. Even though I'm trying to think of the great Luo after the shoot, I still sweat my forehead, as wet as an unwashed bath. It's all because Ngok Ha is always following behind me. She stared at the screen on the machine. Follow my fingers as I turn. Sometimes it's fun. With a sweet breath in my ear. It's finally done. After taking revenge Lao from the hands of Mr. Fu Luan, I'll fix the post-production on the delivery date. Of course, imagine for a bigger wash release, what includes the number of pure family photos. The rest will be kept privately by the couple. No one can offend. When we get to the door, get ready for a taxi. Suddenly behind him came a hurried footsteps, and a cool, fragrant breeze came. Uncle, ma'am, I asked you a little. I turned around and was a bit surprised to see Ngok Ha panting. Run to. She was in a hurry and crashed into me. What's wrong with you? I suddenly recognized the word you. I asked why Can was so dry. She patted her shoulder, breathed deeply, her face slightly red. I want a please. I need a name card. Thanks for seeing my surprised eyes. She explained more. I have a friend I want to take a picture of. So that's Ra. I have a little bit of hope. When I looked at the assistant next to me, then she took out the whole wedge of the studio and gave it to Cho Ngok Ha. And that's the end of this first meeting. A week later, I went back to Mr. Luan's big mansion, to intersect, of course. This job, I can give you an assistant every day, but I don't know why I decided to do it myself. The assistant also seemed surprised. Maybe she thought I wanted to have a relationship with a rich man. Is she really half right? I want to have a relationship with you, but not with you. And Luck smiled at me. Who are you looking for? The person who opened the door for me is an older woman. That the last time I met, she kept looking at me from above. I don't remember the last time I was here. Sorry, I don't have an appointment. I want to see Mr. Luan or Ms. Bick. My name is Nam. I'm here to have sex. Ms. Bick and Mr. Luan went abroad until the new weekend. You can give it to me and leave your number. If you have any questions, I will contact you. She spoke in a steady voice. It's like repeating so many times. I'm a bit of a 7. There are no grandparents at home. I have no reason to enter the house. Of course, I have no intention of giving. 2 large photo frames and carefully packed photo folders that I'm holding in my hand. There's a lot of sensitive stuff inside. It just needs a little exposure. My whole career will be over. So thank you. I'll be there next time. I was going to turn my back. His eyes flashed across the woman, and the breath that's standing inside the green garden, by the pool rolling in the blue. A beautiful, slender body reading a book, on the couch. I feel like I'm 20 years younger. So hello. The polite woman slightly bow and slowly closed the heavy door. I was stunned, as if remembering to stop her. Please give me Mr. Luan's phone number. Can I call first next time? Of course I'm lying. I have Mr. Luan's personal number. Before the first date. And just as I predicted, the butler was a little confused. I'm not allowed to give the boss's phone number. I'm sorry. I was the one a few weeks ago. Come take a picture for Mr. and Mrs. That I pretended to be surprised and said out loud. The very principled housekeeper firmly shook her head. I know, but I'm so sorry, Mr. Luan. If I don't give you my number, I can't. I hope you understand me. This woman opened the door for me last week. It also let me in. The housekeeper frowned a little. It seemed incomprehensible. She was going to talk when she saw me turn my back, but I didn't leave. I turned my back because I knew someone will call me back immediately. Uncle Nam. Just as I expected. Ngoka's voice is so cute. I tried to make the sound of arguing with the butler. Let her pay attention. And go out the door. I suddenly came back pretending to say hello. I choked my dry throat. Ngoka Rio behind the gate. On her is a thin white outfit. Eyes I can't dodge. Come into the house to play. You're not home. The housekeeper reminded Ngoka, but you still don't listen. She pulled the door wide open and said, just let him in. It's okay. I want to show you some pictures of my mother. I walked in, licking words to justify my sudden departure. Keep your eyes on me, make me hot. Please take me to the living room. His voice is as funny as ringing. It doesn't need to be fast. You can sit in the garden. Don't wait for two people to have an opinion. I turned towards the pool. I don't understand myself. Has become such a crooked mouth. I don't want to go into the living room. Every action must be controlled. Under the eyes of the manager Ray. I don't even want Ngoka to change into a discreet suit when I haven't been rewarded. Ngoka doesn't think much. Take the fur coat from the hand of Ray. Put it on. Then have fun. Follow me. The swimming pool area of Fuck's house is very beautiful. The lake is not too big, but the ultra-luxurious turquoise natural stone lining around the swimming pool. It's the tall trees. Just back to a little sun, where Ngoka was reading a book earlier. I stepped into the chair. I sat down as if I had just sat here. The Black Panther stood in front of me. Let me see you. Yeah, right here. I opened the paperback. Careful eyes look around and found out that the curator Ra had disappeared in the house. Ngoka eagerly came to me. I swear I saw it with my own eyes. I don't know how many beautiful women. Many of them are model actors. But that, I've never seen anyone either have smooth, shiny skin and glow as young as Ngoka. I can only see a small corner. It's a shame. Show me a picture. And then the goose sat down next to me. Take all of Nam Pum from Tay. My two dumbfounded hands. My nose is filled with a soothing fragrance. Fragrant with a little sweet as pistil flower. I don't want to be a bee. To zealously suck up the small flower blooming. I unconsciously took a small breath. In the empty air, the two hands that were flipping the image of Ngoka suddenly stopped. Her head bent slightly under the sun from the tree's canopy. I love to see the beautiful face. The little earring, covered in a tiny layer of fine fluff, like glistening in the sun. I feel my throat dry, like walking in the desert. To see a sip of pure water, my eyes are hanging in front of me. I bent down slowly. Kia's little earrings flashed red, but not hiding. Invite him to drink water. The butler's voice echoed behind her. It startled me. I sat up straight. Ngoka, startled, rubbing two cheeks, are flushed, but still crouching, looking at it, seems very attentive. I didn't even dare to turn back that moment. Look at the manager. I know for sure she's staring at me, like a dirty old man plotting nasty things. Part of me also feels guilty, while the rest, again, find a way to justify transparency. I'm only 10 to 40 years old. Ngoka is also about 18. It's not a child. Of course, those words. I just let myself swallow and ponder in my messed up mind. I saw the air go down and sit in the middle of a green garden. I still find it hard to breathe. Auntie, come on in the house. Suddenly, the voice of Ngoka echoed at the side. Into my cold ears, out melodious like a fairy. She really frees me. I suddenly thought of the previous expression of Ngoka. She doesn't seem to disagree with me. My heart is racing as if to jump out, but Miss Boss. I told my aunt to get her shoes inside the house. Ngoka still gently advised. I only know how to test people. He looked at the bridge of his nose like a boy. First day debut girlfriend. The housekeeper's heavy footsteps, like deliberately threatening me. She went away and disappeared behind the house. I breathed in relief, but then I realized I was stupid. The last moment when the soul was strangely fluttered, I acted like that. But now, people don't even dare to turn around. Look at the jade once. Uncle, you took a good picture, he said quietly. I laughed and looked back, and began her painful gaze from me. Your eyes make my heart melt. Why is she looking at me like that? I'm confused. I don't. I remember the last time I was confused. It seems like the last year of high school when my girlfriend is in class. Give me a surprise kiss. And now I'm confused. In the eyes of a girl, the key to your child's age. I found my face burning hot. Just came back. I saw the little thin fingers of Ngoka. He's in the album picture. That's a picture I took of Bic very nonchalantly. Of course I took a lot of pictures of her mother, but that picture is post-production. Then copy it into the USB stick attached to Cho Luan. I want you to take a picture of me too. Ngoka suddenly said, 2 pink cheeks. I nodded, let's go. I mean, the picture looks like my mother's. I was stunned. 2 hands scouring his full. A thunder rumbling. In my ears I unconsciously nod. I suddenly shake my head constantly. My suspicious expression make Ngoka cover her mouth smile. You can't say that. I raised my head and looked into the eyes of Ngoka again, as if to make sure she wasn't kidding me just now. It's an intense battle inside. My dark half inside me screams. The other half kept shaking his head. Teach yourself to nod. You are too old to be confused. Nam Kanti nod. This girl is too young. Just about the age of your child. But you're just taking pictures. What are you doing? It is so with others. Ngoka is not like that. What is the purpose of your meeting with Ngoka? I close my eyes and take a deep breath. Get rid of the dirty thoughts in your head and say, it's not impossible, but I have to ask my mom. Or I wouldn't dare. I was 80 next month. You can decide for yourself. Ngoka slightly pouted her lips stubborn. It's not like that. I was a kid. I know what you said. I don't know what I'm talking about. At least you're older than CA. I didn't take a picture of you. Ngoka pursed her lips, slightly red eyes looking at me. I bowed my head to avoid those eyes. I discovered, I don't know when, I'm afraid of the dark eyes of Ngoka. Of course I remember Cal. I took a picture for her. At the request of the appropriate representative company. Decent copper. Except the age is small. The rest of the hotel has experienced the Ngoka. I really don't want to be a blotch. First on this white paper. I listened to Ngoka. When you're a few years older, married or have a boyfriend, go with him to find you. I'll take a picture for you. Ngoka stood up and licked her lips, and then shuffled the Kier album into my hands. Her voice trembled a little. No, I don't want that. If you don't, I'll find another photographer. Leave one last sentence. The angry woman turned and went straight to the house. The space around me is crumbling, bored and miserable. I want to run, she said yes. But I can't do it. My hands are so tight on the chair, I can't stand up. After that day, I'm secretly sad like a teenage boy. The first time I lost sleep. Ask is also lazy to answer. But I was forced to change my mood. They don't want the flood of work to sink in. Without pity. Husband and wife of Mr. Luan. I'll give it to the assistant. And I'm getting into work. More than 2 months later. A house in New Yendin Chu, alley of District Bia. Above the closed iron door. It's an impressive black and white sign. Tin Nam Studio on the first floor. I slept with a blanket over my head. My wife and son came home early. Suddenly the doorbell rings a few times. I'm not sad to see. He tried to cover his ears to sleep, but couldn't he? A few seconds later, my personal phone suddenly rings. Hello, who is it? I don't hide my dissatisfaction through my voice. Are you Uncle Nam? A timid voice boomed over there. I try to frown uncomfortably. I know I'm 40, but so far, not many people have called me uncle, especially young women. Who is this guy? I answer curtly. I am a gaka. I'm in front of the studio, but it's closed. I tried Ri for a few seconds and I woke up. Yesterday, we just finished a series of photos for post-production fashion magazines, until more than 3 a month. So I decided to close the studio, to rest one day. The security guard came to my assistant, and they're off. Hi, are you still there? Hi, are you there? I'll wait for you. I hurried out of the room. As a sprinter runner, 3 minutes later at the door, I see my heart pounding like a drum. Take a deep breath and I pull the door. Hi, Uncle Nam. This is my boyfriend. Hi. Just a few seconds ago. So many thoughts in my head disappear. In a minute, Ngoka is still beautiful. I can't believe she's more beautiful today. Eyes that glow. Perfect face to the opposite person must hold their breath. She was wearing a glossy black dress. On my bare shoulders, white to the eye. But next to Ngoka today is a handsome, bright young man. He looked at her and smiled at me. My heart was strangely bitter. Where do I think I'm going? Of course, this young man deserves it. Much happier than me. You and your boyfriend, come on in. I turned around and went into the house trying to be natural, but I also feel a lot colder. Go to the back of the kitchen. Take 2 bottles of mineral water from the fridge. Then go out, sitting down in front of the young lovers. I don't know what I should do. The 2 kids are so compatible. It's probably the most beautiful couple I've ever met. I just commented instinctively, because the mind is empty and there's nothing left. How long have I been a fan of your photos? Thanks to Ngoka to meet you today. The young man said a few words. I just nod my head in tears, because my eyes are still on his hand, holding Ngoka's hand. She wants her hand back, but he kept on giving up. Why did you close the studio today? Today is the middle of the week. Ngoka asked. Well, the crew stayed up late today, so it's a day off. I replied, let's go. The story is blocked. The surrounding atmosphere became strangely bland. She looked at me several times as if to say something. She glanced at her friend and asked me, I remember the last time I asked you to take a picture of me. If so, I don't remember why, I said indifferently, making Ngoka's eyes red. She tightened her lips into a thin line. Then he pulled out his small hand. He was being held by the young man. He stood up and turned to wipe away the tears directly falling. What are you doing? The young man didn't understand. Step behind the Ngoka. That action is my blood boiling. I'm jealous. Jealous of a young man my age. In my eyes, she is like a goddess. It can't be dirty by anyone, including myself. You go ahead, I'll get my own car. He whispered his hand out of his mouth and whispered, Why don't you come back to me? Let me take you home, he said, looking over at me. You don't understand. Go home. He was determined to push him out, but leave me alone with him. He covered his mouth. The hateful gaze that keeps looking at me. I forbid you to think about him. Ngoka cracked softly. Uncle Nam. He's a friend of my mother's father. He's older than my mother. Or are you waiting for me outside? If you keep talking, we will break up. Young boy. Bored step by step out motorcycle howling Zay angry. When his shadow is gone, Ngoka just turned to look at me. I've listened to the conversation between the two of you. Now, my mind is as cold as any emotion. I closed 2 doors. Back to face Ngoka on the sofa. I said calmly, That's good. If you wanted to take a picture, I got 350,000. Money to the I door without accepting you. Ngoka looked dumbfounded. Follow me. I turned my back and went into the studio. The mind is empty. I turn on the scissors, I even do things. When the original idea hasn't been formed yet, I heard the footsteps of Ngoka. "Nor turn your head," I said. "The dressing room is inside the bathroom on the Kia side. Makeup off today. I can make up a little bit myself. I'll post-correct the facial expressions." Ngoka did not answer. She went straight to the dressing room and closed the door. I sighed in silence. Every word of Ngoka kept echoing in his mind. It tightens my heart. She said it's not wrong. I'm older than her mother. This age is not official. You can also be a friend of her mother. Only two colored heads like me think wrong. I feel hurt because of that. "Uncle Wee." Ngoka's meticulous cry echoed behind her. She covered her body in a fur scarf. My cheeks are not as red as always. But on the contrary, it's pale and sad. The eyes are red. I'm busy walking back and forth. Machine preparation and post-production, uncle. "Uncle, please. Stop and listen to me. Is that okay?" I put the camera down and was quiet. "You or me?" I didn't want to say that before. "I'm sorry." "Not really, but it's true." I did not look at the Ngoka to continue the work. "I'm not just saying that. Let him go. Actually, he doesn't need to go back. I'm just talking, and I'm going to keep clicking in front of the camera. He's my boyfriend. Just stand and see what happens." "He is not." And he said, looking down at me. I sighed. Suddenly I was angry like a child. I clearly also realized the relationship between Ngoka and this young man. It's just fake forcing. I know you want proof. Please tell me that. I have grown up, and I've got a boyfriend. She was too naive to know that. I'm not talking about the type of boyfriend. Even holding hands is embarrassing. Maybe I'm a lot younger than I thought. Actually, you and he are a perfect match. You never don't like that. The wind suddenly blew me away. I don't understand because of my careless words. It makes her seem angry again. She looked at me as if to say something. I've got a tight lip. I don't want to poke this hornet's nest. I turned to another story. I actually let you take a picture, and there's only the two of us. You're not afraid. I'm not afraid. I believe you. The smaller the Gubba face speaks. I shook my head, laughing all alone. I can't even believe myself anymore. I look embarrassed, and the beautiful red face of Ngoka suddenly sighed. Even though I'm older than your mother, but you don't have to be old to trust, especially my man. No, that's not it. Ngoka shook his head. When the long, shiny black hair doesn't stop. She swayed, and suddenly she fell into my lap. Two arms tightly hugged the whole body. I died as if I had been struck by lightning. The two hands are inert in the human space. I'm infused with a sense of warmth, soft to ineffable. Shiny black hair, her fragrance pressed against my heart as it stopped beating. The whole space is only the voice of Ngoka. I believe you no matter what you do. I still believe you. There's a serious shortage of blood in the brain. My thoughts are dull and unconscious. I don't understand what you're saying. Ngoka did not answer. I suddenly raised my head. I was stunned. My eyes are too wide to blink. My lips turned to a sweet taste. It can't be described in words. Here's what's going on. Before that, I thought Ngoka was comforting me. Although that kind of comfort is a little special. Like this kiss is a whole different thing. She likes me, a man older than her mother. Ngoka's fragrant soft lips, clumsily pressed to my lips. Not superficial. I want a kiss and I don't know how. Even so, it feels better than any kiss I've ever had. I have done it in my 45 years. I'm slowly forgetting myself. Tilting his head slightly, he responded to her with a kiss. Someone who has lived half his life. Ngoka, two arms outstretched with hugging me. My hands are on my waist. But Instead of touching the cotton fibers of the towel, I feel a soothing feeling again, of skin as soft as silk velvet. I know how to cross this thin line. We both have no way back. Look, beautiful facial muscles pink. Then I looked down at Ngokha, full of evidence. I realized I'd gone too far. There's no turning back in this tight room of just these two. Then we have to follow our instincts. Photo studio of Nam Tin. It suddenly became a happy room, the wedding of a newly married young couple. Ngokha and I went through a boundless fun, until more than an hour later, I was embarrassed to look at Ngokha. How many times can I speak? I know this is too late, but I'm really sorry. She wiped her tears from the corner, closed two legs, hand-hugging pillow. Her lips tried to smile and shake her head. It's not my fault, I want that. But why is it you? I was sad to ask. Of course I don't believe that. I can't help but find a girl like Jade to give myself over a few meetings. I don't know. She blushed her face and continued to talk. But why can't it be you? I'm much older than your mother. My dad is 2 years older than my mom. Ngokha powdered her lips. What does my mom and dad have to do with me? I suddenly gaped at Ngokha. She's a little flushed around, avoiding my eyes. You and I don't have to be that close. It's not. Just because of a romantic thought instilled at a young age. But Ngokha gave me the risk. I find my mind searching like it's about to explode. I don't understand either. She looked at the wall aimlessly. Her eyes are lost alone. I've never had a boyfriend, because I really don't like people my age. I like solid growth. I like to have a place to stand. But if you're married, you're not. Ngokha turned to look. And fell on top of his head. Lindim's eyes fell asleep. Unmarried man do sao call mature. I don't want to be your wife. I looked at the girl in front of me. A girl just about the age of my child, that a few minutes ago I stole my virginity. Talked to Ngokha in just a few sentences. My head is half as big. I don't understand her strange deductive psychology. Am I really old? I was stunned. All the confused thoughts fly away. My eyes are fixed on the image right in front of me. My wife is still sitting on my desk, or her hands are on her knees. His eyes closed as if he were dreaming. Her hair is falling out, revealing her slender shoulders. And the ivory white nape, beautiful as winter snow. The round lamp in the back as if dyed on her delicate hair. The beautiful twinkling of the sun. Professional blood rises. I'm in a hurry to get my camera and press it all the time. People don't like to take pictures. Ngokha objected, but she didn't move. Let me take a picture. Looking back at my work, my heart is bound. This is not the truth. I just caught an angel. Right in the messy little corner. This scene, this light, this position, and the state of Ngokha's beautiful face. It's like a most precious moment. My life, I know I've found. A new ladder for fame and career. Let me see it. Suddenly my heart sank again. When I hear the call of Ngokha, who is Ngok? I can use her image. Like a normal model, the excitement comes fast. Beautiful for you. Holding my camera, Ngokha cheered. I'll send it to you later. He looked at the camera and looked down. I walked to carry her up. Now let me help you. I can do it without letting you. Ngokha thin protested. My cheeks flushed against me. I carried her in my arms as if without weight. We went to the bathroom. They say when a man gets lost, or grooming in an unusual way, I'm no different. Away from the dust of the artist. I started dressing up, shaving and cutting my hair. Fragrant flower water. Especially with all the upgraded equipment. They are all gifts from Ngokha. When men are lost, no longer afraid of his wife's probing gaze, clothe her with vague questions. When I turned my back, there is only one shadow in my head. From that memorable first day, it's been a week since Ingokha and I have been together. It's part of my job, part of her mother's back. She kept texting me, told me to sleep early. Otherwise, dark eyes will get older. Told me to stop drinking. Your health is always perfect. He told me to pick up the phone. The clothes she bought me. At home, I feel like I'm on a business trip. Every day my little wife texts me every time she sees me. But all those little annoyances, it makes me feel so happy again. And today is our happy day. After a week of waiting, I have an invitation to a conference in Bali, sponsored by Olympus Camera Company. They're preparing to launch a line of high-end travel cameras. We need to get the opinions of experts in the area. It is very clever that the mother of Ingokha goes away, so it's not hard for me to arrange. Take her with you, Theo. 15 inches front of the international airport entrance. I don't know how many times I went back and forth. Watched the clock and pressed the phone. Ingokha was 40 minutes late for the appointment. Blackpink now has less than half an hour. If now not in, will not be able to pass through 2 security gates and board the plane. Ingokha phone continuously cannot be contacted. My heart is as hot as a burning fire. The eyes are constantly searching. Her familiar silhouette in the crowd. How many times do I want to cancel everything to go back to Ingokha? But half of my mind won't allow it. I'm also responsible for my career with my family. 10 more minutes passed. The more I expected. There are 7 more hopes. Can't wait any longer. I have to go alone for a drink. 2 days promise of happiness. It became a torture for me. While attending the conference, even if you're having dinner with a colleague, or lie in bed playing, I still call Choha on the phone. She didn't turn on the phone for 2 days. I'm starting to get really worried. 9 mess day. I dragged myself out of the airport gate. With a depressed mood. I don't care if the cabs keep calling. I picked up the phone and called Choha. I don't remember. How many times have I done this useless thing? But I can't get her out of my head. Just put the phone on your ear. I was stunned when I heard the bell ring. But that's not true. The sound was as loud as the ear. I'm startled to go back. Your heart stops in a moment. Ingokha is beautiful. She stood in front of me smiling and gave Kao the phone that kept ringing. I'm sorry, she said, but without saying a word. I just saw a moving lip and the red eyes look at me like a guilty child. I frowned, looking angry. Really, my heart is as soft as a cold spring. It's about the embarrassment of Ingokha. I took her hand and walked out the door. Caravan Hotel step-down taxi. I didn't know what to say to the taxi. Throughout both trips, hand in hand without a word. Walk into the hotel room. I threw the suitcase bag. Leave your clothes on the bed. 2 eyes closed. Ingokha chirped softly, climbing onto the bed next to me. Gently open my arm. She lies down and puts her face on me. They both said nothing. It's like listening to each other's beats. After a while, I opened my eyes and asked, "Why didn't you come?" "I'm here to pick you up. I have a plane ticket I bought." Of course she knows I'm lucky. I was silent and not kidding myself. She clings close to me. "I'm sorry, but don't ask. I can't pretend to go." Ingokha pursed lips. My fingers are playing with my unshaved beard. "It's not okay." She laughed softly. "Who kissed my beard-filled chin?" "Still can't." She offered me. How many memories? I want to fill my empty heart. I wrapped up my body so she lay next to me, leaving the yearning red lips of Ingokha. I'm back in the game like I did a week ago. The sudden rush of joy made me forget. I am a 40-year-old boy. I have a wife's family. My feeling is actually a lot happier compared to the first time sneaking around. for being in this comfortable, luxurious room, in the perfect soft bed. The jade completely belongs to me, is my own. I'm not in a hurry. They use all their technology. During the process of the two of you, I was going to say a few words, but it's not that Ingokha is a girl. I'll be loud all day to teach life of some kind. Like education is the most important thing in life. But with Ingokha, after what I did to her, I feel that I am not qualified to teach. Like a real uncle. At the hospital's emergency center, the empty bench is just me. My eyes are cloudy. The legs are raised again. Look at the light box in the emergency room. It's been lit up for a long time and it hasn't been interrupted. It's getting more and more entangled in my head. Contradiction. I want the Kia lights off so I can see the results. I want it to stay forever. Let me have one last hope. The sound of footsteps pouring into the hallway. A classy woman with a haircut. Running behind her was a guard. Equally in a hurry. You two, of course, are Lun, mother of Ingokha. I called them right after taking Ingokha to the emergency room. Of course. How terrible the consequences I had to face when my relationship with Ingokha was made public. But my heart is broken. There's nothing to lose. Nambik called me you probably fit, but that's why I couldn't even raise my head to face her. Ingokha Sao. Second sentence with a very loud voice. Saigon is Mr. Luan's. Can't not answer. My eyes were confused looking at him. I'm still in the emergency room. As soon as he finished speaking, Mr. Luan with great apprehension. Parody of my words. I suddenly froze my stomach. The last face did not dare to look at him. The soldiers didn't seem comfortable looking away. A few seconds later, I looked up at Mr. I'm sorry. I don't need to talk anymore. We already know. He raised his hand and interrupted me. Take a picture out of your shirt and show it to me. I shiver. The picture in my hand weighs like a mountain. That's a picture I took of Ingokha by myself. In the corner of the door, there's a picture of my own author. When I turn back, a nice line of italics. It breaks my heart. If only one last day. I want to be with you forever in my heart. I almost collapsed, the whole space spinning. Made my body stagger on my back, brought a chair. Mr. Long's voice echoed in the ear. I looked at the corner of the picture and I knew you. We don't blame you. At least you also give Ingokha happy days. It could be the last joy. Mrs. Bick's sobbing cry echoed. He rubbed his wife's back. When Ingokha was studying with him, he discovered a brain tumor. It's growing on top of the brain, causing a ruptured blood vessel to overflow the brain. Don't raise your head. Mr. Luan's words are like a knife to my heart. My fingers pressed against the flesh to bleed. But I don't feel any pain, because the pain in the heart overcomes the physical pain. If brain surgery is with you, the chance of survival is 1 in 10. What about Vietnam? That rate is too low to be calculated. But Ingokha is still back. It completely hit us in the beginning. Until morning 2 days ago. We're at birth. Then I got the news that Ingokha spilled blood and passed out. 2 days ago, no. I muttered to myself. My tears are falling. 2 trembling hands looked down at Ingokha's body. Lin Dim is as beautiful as an angel. 2 days ago, we went on a date in Bali. I've been waiting. And blame her. Without even knowing that, she's in a coma in the hospital. I invited a Singaporean doctor. Cho Ingokha's surgery appointment is this morning. But in the early morning, the hospital reported that Ingokha had escaped. Leave this picture. I hold my head like I'm falling. Ingokha escaped from the hospital again. For wanting to spend my last day. I once doubted her love. I once questioned her naive romance. When you chose me. And now I realize I'm really small. She was about to be drowned in her great love. I was terrible from the first moment. If I hadn't tried to approach Ingokha, things would have been different. If you get surgery in time, maybe the chances of survival are greater. I'm ashamed of Ingokha. She was ashamed of her mother and ashamed of herself. If I had a choice, I'd like to take the place of Ingokha. I've lived half my life while she... And now, I stood up and grabbed the lion's hand and asked, "Why didn't you invite him here?" "And the doctor's in there, they have." Mr. Long patted my shoulder and then the rabbit. "He came before them. I've probably been inside since. Maybe this is her last chance. We can only wait for the light box on Kia's side to turn on. As bright as our hope, 3 years have passed. Ever since the day I experienced the thin line between heaven and hell. My life has taken a turn and I can never go back. I'm sitting on the computer writing the last lines about the story of my life. The woman next to me is laying her head on my shoulder. Crying is not dead. But the legacy of her is not small. Tumor in the brain successfully removed. It also takes away her ability to walk. The rest of Ingokha's life will be attached to the wheelchair. And I divorced the shell, leaving all the house and estate to his ex-wife and son. I refused the help of my mother. She and I moved into a rented house with a little photography studio. I suddenly turned to ask Ingokha, "If not then?" The doctor said I only had 3 months to live. "Would you choose me?" Ingokha looked deep into my eyes. That look I met years ago in her garden. She smiled softly. "I guess." I suddenly picked up the Ingokha and put it on my lap. I hugged her. Smell the familiar fragrance in her hair. I never need that answer. But I believe that you two have a destiny. It's all coming together anyway, whether it's early or late. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, our short story is here today. It's over. You and I have finished the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification to support the entire team of the channel. Hi, I'll see you guys later in the next new stories.